organization to present Caritas India's perspective, International Year of Farming, Family Farming, which is actually a very close, very dear subject to Caritas India, as well as the Caritas network, which is working in over 160 countries in the world. Caritas India particularly is interested because Caritas India is working over 200,000 working on or helping 200,000 farmers on family farming. Before I start the presentation, I would like to say a brief history about the family farming, how you has taken it up. In 2010, many organizations, Caritas India particularly, we had with several organizations, including UN, to pay more attention to issues or the challenges faced by family farming. Responding to this, which was initiated by World Rural Forum organization, the UN had announced 2014 as the Year of International Year of Family Farming. We need to first understand what is family farming about. Family farming, going by the definition on the family farming campaign.net, which is also family agriculture, is a means of organizing agricultural, fisheries, pastoral, and aquaculture production, which is managed and operated by a family, and on non-veg family in both women's and men's. The family and are linked, co-evolve, combine economic, environmental, productive, social, and cultural functions. The question now arises is why national farming is required. I will give 5 reasons to have greater respect for family farming. We need to deliberate more on farming. The first one, it is a sure remedy for guarantee of food supply. 60% of the world's food production is provided by family farmers, because this is also important because it holds key to fight and malnutrition, especially that we see in Madhya Pradesh, which is called the world capital of malnutrition. So small farms are often productive and sustainable per unit of land and consumed, because large managed by family with very little input as well as use of machinery. Second, in the justification of family farming is generates welfare. 40% of the world depend on farming. At the developing countries, out of the 300 million rural people, of percentage of them, that is 250 million, belong to families engaged in family farming. So this is the importance that family farming has to the welfare of the people. It also contributes to stabilizing the population in rural areas, to preserve historical and cultural values, to generate income and consumption. The third reason is poverty alleviation. The great potential it has got for poverty alleviation. GDP growth originated in agriculture is at least twice as effective in reducing poverty than GDP growth generated in other countries, other sectors. It is also said that almost 80% of the total poor belong to the farming groups. So if we generate or increase the production of agriculture, it is going to contribute to eradication or alleviation of the poverty of the farmers. The fourth aspect is very important one, women as farmers. Across the globe, there are some exceptions here and there, otherwise women continue to remain invisible on the farming sector. Almost all the decisions are taken by men, and then women are continuing to be ignored. And if you are looking at the mechanization, you will know that most of the mechanized farming roles have been that of men. Men's roles have been taken over by machines, and women role, women, the typical works that women used to do traditionally, they have not been mechanized. Women continue to do that. Women contribute a significant proportion of the agricultural labor force in the developing countries. UNIFEM estimated that the figure is between 60 to 80. That's a huge percentage of work. FAO estimated that the percentage is 43%. The fifth and last one is biodiversity protection. Family farming has got great potential for the conservation of local varieties. Throughout the history, we have used about 7,000 plants to meet basic needs. Nowadays, there are over 150 species grown commercially, of which 30 constitute 90% of the calories in the human diet. And only 4, rice, wheat, corn and potato, account for more than half of the calorie contribution. So this also contributes directly to the conservation of local varieties. Family farming, besides being a source of genetic agrodiversity, can ensure their preservation through the use of seed varieties and native livestock breeds well adapted to various environments. This is the basic theoretical framework as well as the compelling reasons for promoting family farming and announcing 2014 as the International Year of Family Farming. I would like to also give you a glimpse into what Caritas India is doing in line with the commitments of International Year of Family Farming. Caritas India strongly believes that hunger is not inevitable. It is the result of apathy. So what Caritas India is suggesting and recommending is that we should be investing more in agriculture and livestock farming so that food crisis can be anticipated and we can prevent them from becoming disasters. For this broad objective, we are proposing, or we are actually implementing some of these things that we have mentioned below. Strengthening farmers' collectives, recognizing women as decision makers in agriculture, blending the positives of traditional agriculture and mainland agriculture research. It has been seen that we have been romanticizing the traditional form of agriculture and also demonizing the scientific agriculture because of several reasons. But we sometimes fail to even record or admit that there are good positives or positives for the modern agriculture. There are also some negatives of the traditional agriculture. The need of the hour is blending them together, take the positives from both, blending them, and then developing a better solution. Indigenize or localize agriculture and give ownership back to the farmers. So if you go to the villages and ask farmers, where do you get your treatment for some sort of pest, then they do not have any solution. They will naturally say, we will go to the storekeeper and ask what is the solution that is possible. Naturally, the solution that they are getting is from the market. Work towards food security, food sovereignty, and finally, reviving local food systems, especially millets, tubers, local varieties of pulses and yams. And if you analyze the agriculture pattern, most of these things have almost disappeared from the local agriculture scene, and they have not been. You can't see in the local platter also. Yeah. One of the things that we propose is that we should have also a paradigm shift in the agriculture research. So there are basically 4 types of researches as they have been practiced. One is the scientist designed and scientist implemented this way. Farmer designed and scientist implemented, and scientist designed and farmer implemented. What we propose as part of family farming is it has to be farmer designed and farmer implemented. Scientist has to support. Farmers collective led approach. This is another approach which has been taken, which has been experimented across the world with good successes. This helps in giving back the decision-making power to the farmers, facilitate instead of leading the decision-making process, and also facilitate exchange of experience and innovations. On-farm interactions. I would like to also tell you that we had conducted in 10 villages innovation scouting once in one crop season. We found that to our own surprise, around 184 traditional practices for various agriculture-related purposes. Women as decision makers of agriculture. I would like to present one particular lady, Shantakumari Kushwaha, who is a lead farmer. For the first time, she experimented a system of wheat intensification. She had innovated this practice and planted coriander in the spaces between the wheat, and she got approximately 2 kg of coriander. Let us not look at the size of the quantity of the coriander that she got. Let us look at the nutritional supply it ensured. Otherwise, if she had not grown, then she would have had to go to the market buying all these. She had actually localized all the agriculture inputs. She did not buy anything from the market. She did everything with whatever was available from whatever was available in the local area. Achieved a production increase of 164. Indigenous agriculture, there are several equipments which can be made with very little investment that farmers know. But since these are already available or readily available in the market, the temptation is to go to the market. Food and nutrition sufficiency. This is another objective which we are pursuing. This is one temptation is that we would brand it as something like intercropping. It is actually not. It's not just intercropping. It is also identifying what are the nutritional and food shortages of a particular community and responding accordingly. So you would find that wheat can be, fenugreek can be intercropped with wheat and even cauliflower with potato. These are some of the ways of identifying the deficiencies and responding. Reviving, strengthening indigenous food systems. As I told earlier, working on the millets, yams and tubers and pulses. Especially because these are the hardy crops, you don't need to invest much. You can easily plant and some sort of return is assured. And especially during the distress seasons, this is a dependable crop. And one more thing which we have observed is that these are generally being cultivated by women with very little input and as well as labor. I think this is something which we can. Yeah. Thank you very much.